Alright, so today I'm going to be cleaning these pistons from a 305 that I'm probably going to rebuild and put in my Camaro unless I can get the V6 running, but who knows at this point with that engine, because there's sensors and whatnot that are missing that I don't know if I'll be able to find that might prevent it from running, but you know, so this is just a backup if can't get that running sooner than later, to put the 305 in there. And so you can see pretty dirty, so I'm just cleaning those and letting them soak, and I'm doing them one at a time because I have bags labeled so I don't lose track of which pistons go where. Not like it really matters, but it can cause issues if you don't, whatever. So and I think I might try to get the rings off, and you can see they're pretty stuck, but we'll see, because my grandpa, when he bought, because we LS swapped our El Camino, so this is the old engine from the El Camino that I'm thinking of putting in my Camaro. And my grandpa said because he bought it in California, he put oil in it in California, and then by the time he got to Nevada, he checked the dipstick and there was nothing on the dipstick. So I hope it's the rings, not the cylinder walls, that were getting worn down. Worst case, if it was the cylinder walls, I'd bore it out to a 327, and then I got a 327 small block rather than a 305. But hopefully I don't have to do that, because I just want to rebuild it for as cheap as possible and then stick it in my Camaro. So we'll see. And you can see the rest of the pistons over here, but I could do two at a time, putting the bag of which one it goes where on whatever side, but I don't know, we'll see. And here, I'll show you the bearings real quick. But the bearings were pretty worn down as well, so hopefully this bearing's not the crankshaft, but if I can get this off. Maybe, if I can. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to get this off, because it's being a pain. Anyway, but the bearings have some pretty good. I'll show you what. Yeah, like this isn't a bearing from this engine, but this is one from another. It has worse scoring than that. And so, you know, that definitely, those need to be replaced anyway, even if, you know, whatever. And so hopefully I can just use these pistons and then re-ring it, and possibly the most I might do to this engine is a cam, but I kind of just want to rebuild it for as cheap as possible and stick it in my Camaro. It's more than the it's similar horsepower to the V6 and more torque, like 40 foot-pounds more torque and about the same horsepower, so you know, it's worse fuel economy, but it's easier to find parts for. So the 305 I think is a better option for just cost wise and to find parts for. Fuel economy, nah, not so much, because it gets like 13 to 17 city highway depending on what type of driving, especially with the cam it would get even worse. But and my V6 would get like 19, 26 city and highway, so I don't know. I think the 305 is a better option, because to fit a distributor in the 4th gens, you had to like, there's a firewall, you have to cut the top part of the firewall, and then you can fit a distributor, and then the engine, since the 60 degree V8 versus the 90 degree V6, it sits down a lot lower, so you have a lot more room than the V6, because the V6 sits a lot higher than the V8s, so that would be another advantage, a little more room in the engine bay. But you know, because at this point, because I've had my Camaro for almost a year now, trying to get the V6 running, it was stuck, and then I pulled it and I rebuilt it, and who knows what I did wrong. But Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but I think probably the 305, just for whatever, because at this point I just want the cheapest way to get it on the road. And for the 305, I probably have to replace the fuel pump and starter to still get that, or if not for the 305, for the V6, to possibly get that running, and that's not a guaranteed. The 305, if I spend $300 on a rebuild and I clean some things up and whatnot, it's almost a guaranteed that it'll run, because it's a small block Chevy, you know. But yeah, we'll see. So hopefully this is all a waste of time and the V6 just decides to run, but that's probably not the case, you know. And this isn't terrible compared to some things, because like my Plymouth, this stuff I had to scrape it off with the paint. This is why I have this. This stuff is just coming off after soaking for a little bit, so we'll see. But I think that's supposed to be there. I'm not sure if that's do other Pistons have that? I'm not sure, because if that's a chunk out of a piston, then that might be a chunk out of a piston. I can't tell if that's a hole in the piston or if that's supposed to be there. Let me pull another piston out and see what it tells me. Because if that's a hole in the piston, I gotta replace these anyway. I might as well just do a 327. Yeah, because there's this, and that's, I think, supposed to be there, because that's for compression and whatever. Looks like my Camaro Pistons had that. But I'm not entirely sure that that's supposed to be there. Because that kind of looks like a chunk out of a piston, kind of looks circular enough to be like it's supposed to be there, so I'm not entirely sure. Let me get this cleaned up and I'll make sure, because if that's a hole in the piston, explains why it was burning oil and whatnot, but yeah, that's not good. And I also got my D-ringer thingy, whatever, so I'm going to take the rings off and measure those to see if it's the rings or the cylinder walls. But for now, I'm just going to get a screwdriver and I'm going to try to get these rings unstuck, because I'm not using these rings no matter what. But they're stuck and I just need to get them off. And so as long as I don't damage the piston, I don't care. I need to clean under them, so, you know. Let's see. Okay, let's see if I can get them off here. Well, I guess I gotta get that one off first. I don't want to damage the rings too much or break them. I don't care if I damage them a little bit, because I need to measure the gap and how much more or whatever, to see if it was the rings or to see if it was the cylinder walls. That's better. So I'll let that soak a little more, and I'm gonna look at some more pistons to see if they have that hole, and that'd be weird if only one or two or three. I don't know. That's not supposed to be like that, I don't think so. Yeah, like that hole is normal, but then this one doesn't have that, and it just has a hole for, like, I don't know why they would do that, if that is confusing me. So we'll finish. That is weird, because I know those little, like, slots are for compression or whatever you want to say, but like these ones, oh, that's not good, because like that, it looks circular enough, it could just be there for compression, but it's weird why it doesn't have the slot for, like, normally it'd have a slot right here instead of unless this was rebuilt before and some guy just threw a random not same. That's weird. Because 3 and 7 is what I checked, and they don't have it. And yeah, cause like if none, yeah, cause like they all have. You can see that slot right there. They all have that slot, but they don't all have. Yeah. Oh, but this one has that. What number is this? Okay, so number 4 and number 1 have this little. That is weird. Number 4, number 1, and number 8 or whatever would have the like a hole in the piston. So unless some guy rebuilt this without, but then he used the same bearings because these bearings were stamped 84, the original bearings. So unless some guy did a half-ass rebuild and didn't pay attention to I don't even know, because that's weird. Maybe the Pistons, does anyone know why the Pistons, some would have the, like this hole? I know for some compression, but why would they should be even? And some would have, let me show you. Some would have like this slot. You see that slot? Some, because like 2 of them I've seen with the hole or whatever, and the rest have slots, like a normal piston. So I don't know what, or why, or how, or where, when. That's confusing. I mean, it's not a big deal. But if anyone knows, they could tell me. Because if that's supposed to be like that, then I won't worry. But if that's not supposed to be like that, then that's a problem. So I'm gonna just try to, and I gotta keep track of which rings go where, so then I can measure and know which pistons. I have an idea. Ow, just cut myself. Oh yeah, that'll put a cut in your thumb. Those are some sharp rings. I have an idea of which pistons were burning oil, just because, you know, the way that it was, you know. Cause that, you know. Like this one, I have an idea, you know, because all the whatever crap on there. But I don't know about, you know, and there's some burning coolant and whatnot, you can tell. Because they're cleaner, and sometimes you can clean an engine by spraying water into an intake. That's, I don't know, some guy burned like 20 gallons of water and it cleaned his pistons, but I don't know. But so that's what I assume, burning water or coolant, whatever, his head gasket. But I can't get these rings off, or I can't get this one. Let me hold up, get the ring thingy in there. Yeah, I can get the one side off. I cut myself pretty good. I get the one side off, but then this side just doesn't want to come off. Ow. I keep cutting myself. I need to let that soak some more. And I'm going to try to get this degreaser with the thing broken off. I don't know, don't ask me. And then there's this simple green stuff, degreaser, whatever, that I'm using. I don't want to use it all though, but I kind of have to if I want to clean these, like with my Plymouth, you know, whatever. But if you want to see this 305 running, hopefully in the near future. Oh yeah, that's cleaned up. Make sure you're subscribed and you like and you hit the buttons and you bloop your, you know. But if anyone knows why this hole is there, and some have just a slot, and some, like 2 have a hole and 6 have a slot like that. I know, like the slots are for compression ratios and whatnot, but I've never seen pistons with like a hole like that, and then without the slot. The rest have the slot. So if you know, let me know. You know, there's got to be one of you that have dealt with that knows something about it. Maybe some brake clean, you know. But yeah, I don't know, that's just strange. And I know this, like I said, I know this is burning oil, and I need to find we have a digital measure, you know, the thing that does this thing with the measure. Yeah. Anyway, so I gotta measure the gap in between the rings and then the actual ring. I need to maybe look up how to do that again, but how to exactly measure and then what the specs should be on the rings. Because maybe then the rings were hopefully the issue for the oil and, you know, whatever. Because it burned 5 quarts of oil every like 200 miles. So, you know. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, my grandpa bought the El Camino in California, like desert area, and then he got to Las Vegas. He checked the dipstick, and he had added oil before he left California. He had checked the dipstick in Las Vegas, and there was nothing on the dipstick, so it was burning that much oil. At least a highway, I don't know what, who knows, it could have been traffic, or either way, it was burning a lot of oil. And then, before he pulled the 305, there's a sticker that, like, it has the car's like 124,800 miles, and he got oil change like 200 miles before that. And we checked the dipstick, whatever, and it was like halfway full, even though he got an oil change like 200 miles, so it was burning a lot of oil. So hopefully that's the rings, but we'll see once we get it cleaned up, and hopefully we can get this. Oh yeah, you can see a nick in the ring. And this oiler ring, I need to find, oh yeah, here's top and bottom oiler ring. I've never seen one with like a middle section thingy like that. And so I got this bottom ring loose, and this could be another reason, because the rings got stuck. It could be from sitting, it could have been from the reason why I was burning oil. Okay, there we go. I think I'm good. There we go. So I'm gonna pull the rings. I could try to pull them with my fingers, but I'm not gonna cut myself more. Like putting them on with your fingers, sure, but pulling them. These are like, okay, good. We got it off. So this is the top one. I gotta keep track of that. I'm gonna let that sit. So this is the top ring. And yeah, you can definitely see the ring where it was seeping oil. Let me see if I can get a light on that. Okay. You can see here where it's kind of darker is where the oil, I think, was seeping through. And the same on the other side. I have to measure the actual width of the ring to confirm that was the issue. But, you know, you can see the ring where it's kind of darker. Right there, I think, is where oil is getting through. And this is the compression rings, and then this is the oil ring. And so if oil is getting past these, then it'll burn. But I don't know, whatever. But I think hopefully it's the rings. I need to find our measuring tool, but I'm gonna, oh, I have an idea. I think I'll zip tie or tape top ring, bottom compression ring, and then oiler rings, so I know which order they came off in. And I don't see an indicator which is top and which is bottom, so I'll just kind of put it how I feel. I guess I keep track of the other ones, but I'm gonna get, I need to find our measure. Does anyone know what's the measurement for like millimeters or whatever you do for a small block, or for a 305, like what the rings are supposed to be, like width wise, what the gap is supposed to be? Because then I can get an idea of what oil, how much oil it was burning, or not how much, I know how much, but get an idea of if it was the rings or if it was the cylinder walls. Hopefully it's the rings. Ideally, usually it is the rings, but it could be the cylinder walls, and I doubt a small block would burn that much oil if it, I don't know, that's just strange to me. Oiler rings unstuck too, so I can get that off. Maybe. Okay. There we go. And these ones you can just get off with your fingers, because oiler rings are, or at least the top and bottom, whatever oiler rings are pretty thin. And I'm trying to keep these in an order of which they came out, and then I'm going to tape them together just so I know. And then here's the actual oiler ring. The other ones were just spacers. So there's the oiler ring. And here's the bottom spacer for the oiler ring. And if I can get it out here. Again, you can just get this off with your fingers, roll it off kind of like that. And we'll let it soak and clean inside the whatchamacallit. But there's the 3, or I guess you could say 5 rings, because if you count the oiler ring, spacers, whatever, as a ring, that's all your rings. So I'm gonna get a zip tie them in this order so I know which way they came out, and then I can measure and get an idea, you know. So this is the first piston, and it's mostly clean. Like, I'll go through again, but pretty clean. Once I get it all the way clean, I don't got new parts yet, because I'm still not 100% sure if I use this engine, but I don't have anything better to do today, so I might as well clean these up. And you can see all that gunk inside the oiler ring and inside the ring grooves. That could be, that's why that ring was stuck, but so this could be why it's burning oil. And oh yeah, look how thick some of that oil. Here, let me get it to focus. You see right there, there's like a noticeable oil buildup in the oiler ring. Like, look at that. That's my screwdriver hitting that buildup, and geez. There we go. We'll let that one soak a little more. I guess, should we start another piston at the same time, probably? Then we can put the bag on this side and know which one's which, because I have the bag for, I wish I had like a, because I have a 3D printer, so I should 3D print like a valve train and piston, so I know which order they came out, and then it's just a tray. That's in an ideal world when I have time to make one of those or find one of those or print, you know. But yeah, make sure if you want to see this 305 running in hopefully a few months, hopefully, like, it's either going to be like end of the summer I get the engine in, get it running, whatever, or after, depending on how much money I make with different things. I'm painting a car for a friend right now. I'll get some good money from that, and then I was helping around. I got some good money yesterday from whatever, and so depends how much money I have. Money is always the issue, you know. And so if I get enough money, it'll be whatever, or I work at a pumpkin patch in the fall, and so I'll get money from that, and then come November I'll get this engine in, and it'll be running. So if you want to see it running and driving in my, so if you want to see a 305 small block, possibly cammed, possibly not, who knows, or stock, I don't know. If you want to see a small block 305 in a 1995 4th gen Camaro, then make sure you're subscribed and you like and you do all the things, and you know, yeah, give it a like, so, you know, all that. Anyway, did you hear, I don't know how true this is, but it's probably not true, but I heard something about Disney's partnering up with NASCAR to replace the Indianapolis 500 with a Piston Cup, or like a, you know, like in the movie Cars, there's that the Piston Cup race. I heard that Disney and NASCAR are partnering up to make a actual real life Piston Cup race. I don't know how true that is, but that's just something I heard this morning or last night. It's like, that'd be kind of cool. I'd watch the Piston Cup. Well, when they said they'd like paint the cars, wrap the cars as like a actual from Cars, they'd have like Lightning McQueen, and they'd have all the different like racers from Cars. Then they should do, you know, like Cars 2, how they had the like whatchamacallit with the in like Italy with all the other racers or whatever, they should do like a real life one of those. I know they kind of do, but like with NASCARs, you know, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know how true it is, but Yeah, I think I have smaller brushes. I have, because I have this one. I have a lot of other brushes, but from a previous rebuild of my 1950 Plymouth at an inline six, that's all the gunk from that, and it's gonna take forever to clean those. So I have smaller brushes, or I have old toothbrushes, whatever I could use to clean them. But see, that sounds too simple, you know, too easy. And this brush, I'm not fully gonna clean it. I just to get in there and whatever, I'll need smaller brushes and to get in here. But I'm just more gonna try to get as much as I can with this, and then I'm gonna like clean up the piston. That's like 80%, and once I do that, then I can once I clean it up to like 80%, then I'll go back, get new degreaser, then get smaller brushes and better tools and whatnot or better things to clean it up. And then I'll probably even get the drill and clean up the rod and whatnot, because that'll be easier than, I had a brush that attaches to the drill that would make it a lot easier. I could use screws, or I don't even know what to get in there. But basically, yeah, I don't know should I clean this bag out, because this bag's just gonna, or should I get a new bag? Because I had to label them in bags, because it's not like it makes a huge difference, but I still like to keep track of which piston was where. And so, like with bearings and cam bearings and whatnot, and push rods and whatnot, you have to keep track of that because of wear patterns. With pistons, it's kind of important. It's not the end of the world if you don't, but ideally you should. And so I'm keeping track with bags with the numbers. And so I need to either clean this bag or just get a new bag for the new cleaner piston. I might just honestly get a new bag. That means I have to go inside. But I could go get one. Yeah, so I think, and I need to also get either duct tape or zip ties to clean these rings, because this is the first and then second compression ring, then oiler, spacers, and oiler ring. And so I need to keep track of those by either zip tying or taping, just so I can keep track. Not like you need to, but I just like to keep track of those things just to have a idea of, a more complete idea of what's going on. Like, you don't need to keep track of that stuff, but I just like to, because that's just me. Because there might be 1 in 100 times where I'm like, oh, that would have been nice to keep track of where that was, or what ring that was, or where. So if it's 1 out of 5 rebuilds, keeping track like that, I need something or need that information, then it's worth it. So and I might have to get new pistons, because I think that hole's supposed to be there, but there's I don't know what, because there's some with a slot, some with a, I don't know, it's a whole thing. Because like, if you see here, this piston has just a slot there, versus this piston has like almost a hole, but it's not all the way through, but it's like a cast hole. I don't know what or why or where or how, when, who. Don't ask me, okay? So if you know why some small blocks have, or some pistons would have this hole, and some pistons would have a slot in the same engine. Normally, like my Plymouth, my Camaro, all of them were like this, and or all of them had a slot instead of just a hole. But this 305 apparently has a hole and a slot, and I don't ask me, okay? I'm not no professional. I'm a 16-year-old with too many cars. It's a problem. Well, it's not a problem. I enjoy them. Like, the average person owns 8 cars in their lifetime. Like, I don't get how you can be that boring. Like, I don't know. Okay, so it's marked for, yeah. So, well, I know that mark is, but here, let me show you another piston. I guess I can take the piston 7 out. Like the mark that I know this mark, like on my Camaro, was to show which, way it goes, front or back, the slot in the piston, and I get that, shows whatever. But then this one, I don't know what, if that, because normally it should, all the pistons should have a slot, or if that's damage on the piston, but I don't think it is, because it does, this piston, if it was damaged, it would, was normal, it would still have the slot to show which way. So I don't, it's a little confusing, but I'm sure there's a reason, because normally all the pistons should just be the same, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, that's how the Gen 3, okay, so the LS, yeah, because this is the old 305 at the El Camino. We now have an LS1, 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds, and still giving 20 miles a gallon. The LS is like a good engine. I love it, but that makes sense. I'm sure there's a reason, and if that's how it's marked on LSs and other engines, with this, whatever, that makes sense. It's not like, but if you want to make, see this engine and, running and whatnot in my 4th gen Camaro, small block, and a 1995 Camaro, make sure, you like and subscribe and hit the buttons and, all that. Anyway, so I think this piston is as clean as it's gonna get until I replace this. I'm just getting, because this is what they all started as, and so it's better, so I'm just getting it like halfway there and 80% there, and then we should be good if we can do that. But yeah, yeah, since it's summer, I have a lot of time. I tried to get a job at, this is a great story, okay, tune your peepers, your ears, So basically, end of May, once school got out, I tried to get a job at O'Reilly's, and at this O'Reilly's, we go there so often that they have our number memorized, and we don't even, whatever, like we're first name basis, phone number, anyway, and basically after being told, you just apply, the whole last year that, just to go and apply, and, and this is the manager saying it, just apply, and, we'll see your thing online. And once we see it, I'll give you an interview and whatnot. So I had my interview, that went all fine. Then he's like, once you have your interview, things start moving pretty quick. And so it was a week, and I was like, that's not pretty quick. That's been a week. And I'm like, okay, so I go in. They're like, come back in a week or two, and we might know what's going on, corporate and whatever. They kind of just ghosted me on that one. And then I went in a week later, and the guy's like, our manager's not here. I'm like, okay, I'll come back next week. And then I go in next week, and they're like, actually, since you can't work full time, we can't hire you, which I think was stupid, because the only reason, as a 16-year-old in Colorado, I can work full time, but like 40 hours. But O'Reilly's, I can only work 30 hours, because if in Colorado, if you work more than 30 hours, the place has to offer benefits, and so I don't think O'Reilly's wanted to give benefits to a 16-year-old, which okay, whatever. But full time is 30 hours. There's no difference between full time and 30 hours really for someone my age, and so and they only have like 5 or 6 employees, and they kind of needed help because one of them was even leaving, and they were like interviewing random. I don't even know, or some guy at a desk job at corporate had an issue with. Because on my interview, one of the questions is, how much do you know about cars? It's like, I rebuild engines, all the way from, I can rebuild engines for fun on the weekends, or I can change a tire, of how much you know on it, whatever. And so, I put down I can rebuild an engine, so maybe some guy at corporate had an issue with, a 16-year-old being able to rebuild an engine. They thought I was lying just to get hired or whatever, and so that could be why, too. So we'll see. I might try to reapply for the school year, because I can't do this type of stuff in the summer or during the school year, because during summer, yesterday I went and helped a friend. I got $250 for building a fence and whatever, and I can make good money in the summer. I'm painting one of my friend's car, or friend from church's car, just the hood and roof, and then a paint correction on the rest of the car. and then that's a good money. That's like $1,800 right there. So that you can make good money in the summer. Just I need to find a job. So I was hoping I'd get one at O'Reilly's for even the school year, but whatever. So if you ever go try to work at O'Reilly's, make sure it's not a corporate-owned store, and make sure it's or any place. Like I've kind of decided I don't really want to work for any corporate store. I want to work for unless if my application can't stay in the building and the person that takes my application can't hire me without anyone others' input, I don't really want to work for them. That's just how it is, kind of. Because dealing with corporate and bureaucracy is not my thing, Because whatever. I'm not complaining because I can still make money doing other things in the summer, and whatever, and it's more flexible hours and I can make more money. Like just working for myself 3 days a week, I can make, or 2 days a week, I can make more than I would at O'Reilly, so I'm not complaining. But still annoying. I think this is clean enough. I think I should probably go get a new bag. Let me clean the rod up a little bit, and the bearings, whatever. And then this is clean enough. Like, it's not perfect. Well, I guess I'd get some of these deposits off. And once I get these deposits off, I'll get some new bags. And then we can get some more pistons cleaned. It's taking a half an hour just to get this one cleaned, so we'll be here for a while, but I don't mind doing this type of stuff. Especially when I'm live, because then, whatever. So, I'm gonna go, I guess I could spray this with some more degreaser. And then, well, and I'm not surprised how much oil this was burning, because the original owner towed an Airstream with a El Camino all across the country, highway speeds, towing an Airstream with a 140 horsepower 305. So it's not surprising that it was burning that much oil, but okay, so let me find tape. Do I have tape in here? I have zip ties in the car, but I thought I had some. I have it out here. Okay, so I got zip ties here. So I'm gonna zip tie the rings together so I know which order they're coming out, or they came out, and then I'll put them in the same bag as I put the number 1 piston in, just so I can keep track of some of this stuff. You don't need to keep track of this stuff. I just like to. Like I said earlier, it helps one of 5 rebuilds to make things easier or whatever, more clear, then that's worth it. So I'll just put this zip tie on, and I'll do another one on the other side. Okay, well, that should hold, don't you think? I'll just put the gaps on the other side. That'll hold. Famous last words. Okay, so I'm gonna go get some more bags. Well, actually, I'm gonna hold up. Okay, I need to get some paper towels, which I got right here. I'm gonna wipe off this piston. Look how clean that is. That is clean as you're gonna get. I'm gonna still get some more of this stuff with soaking and maybe some acetone and some better cleaning stuff than what I have right now, but I'll do that when I do bearings or when I do rings or whatever. Yeah, here, I'll show you the bearings. You see these bearings, how scored they are? Like, that's really worn down. Like, I don't know how much of a difference, but that's a couple thousandths of the difference between this and this, or this and this. So that's pretty, it's almost noticeable. So, we'll clean this off, and here's number 1 piston, number 1 rings in the order they came off of. So top compression ring, bottom compression ring, oiler rings, and oiler spacers. So I'm gonna put this off to the side, and I know this is number 1. I guess we'll go ahead and put number 7 in, because that's just the one on top. Number 7. Oh, maybe I should. Is this Sharpie working? Okay, this Sharpie, I think it works. This Sharpie's running out, actually, so I might need to. I had a green one. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. There it is. I'm ready for Christmas. I'm already colored up and everything. Anyway, So while we let that soak for a second, let me spray some degreaser on the top. I swear this degreaser is good, just the sprayer never works. I think this bottle actually has a hole in it, so you cover that hole and then it works, but you know. Like, oh, maybe I can, hold up, I can fill this up because this is empty. Let me just use what's in here, because I have a big bottle of it over here. So I need to empty it, or that bottle into this one, but I'll just use what's left in here. Okay. Then we'll let that sit. Well, I guess we can start. Let's just see. Let's just see how easy it comes off. Comes off. It's not as easy as the last piston, but it's maybe some more soaking, it'll come off easier. And then we got like a bunch of more brushes, but I don't know where they went. I was using them the other day. They're brand spanking new. I only used one of them for something, and I can't find them now. So I'm gonna go get, well, I guess let's try brake clean first, and then I can. Oh yeah, brand spanking new. Rebuilding. Rebuilt. See, that's how you rebuild it. It's just brake clean. Paper towels. You know? Oh yeah, that gets it good. You know, I didn't know these pistons were silver. I thought they were black underneath, because see, this isn't cleaning, this is weight reduction, actually. It's not advanced weight reduction because we don't got no rust, but this grease, this is just weight reduction. You know, I don't even got any advanced weight reduction on my Camaro. You know, structural rust. So, you know. Okay, what now? Alright, so I'm gonna, well, I think this Sharpie works, right? I checked that. I guess the Sharpie works. Okay, so we'll let that soak for a little while. But this stuff, whatchamacallit, this stuff is good, but the nozzle broke off and it's like a full can. So now I gotta, like, this is the only way it comes out, and it makes a mess. Maybe if there's even any in here. I don't know. I might be out. Yeah, I think we're out. But that's fine. Yeah. Maybe we can go see if we can get this to work. I don't know. Give me like, I need to clean my workspace here. It's either I clean this bag or go get a new one. I think I probably should go get a new bag, because I just cleaned brand new pistons, you know. Not brand new, but it is basically brand new, you know, because it's cleaned. It's rebuilt, basically. Forged, you know, you can throw anything at it, you know. Ooh, how does this work to scrape it out? Yeah, that's scraping it pretty good. Oh, I'm making a mess. I'm trying to... Give me a second. Hold. Hold your horses. Okay? You holding? Okay. I got my bags. You know, brand new. And they're the thicker, I guess, I don't know. I guess we can label them before we throw the piston in. Number 1. Number uno. Is this a backwards one, or is this the right way? My dyslexia is a little... Okay, we'll stick this in here, and we took off the rings, and I zip tied the rings in the order they came off, and so we know we have that for later. So this is a little cleaner, and that's gonna go right there. Oh, I just got the brand new bag all dirty. Okay, we'll set this one over here. That one's set aside. Okay. Do you think this brush cleaner is this just acetone? It says it removes latex and oil-based paints. We got a bunch of oil. It's not a paint, but it's oil. It's just straight oil. Is this just acetone in here? Oh, it smells like acetone. Oh, it doesn't smell like acetone. Would this work to... I might try some. Not like, well, I could, you know. Well, okay. Now let's try to get this one cleaned up. And we'll throw some carb clean to chew on it. This bearing and this piston isn't quite as bad, but it's still noticeable where it's worn down. So, you know. Let's see here. Hey, well, that brake cleaner or whatever does a good job of getting marker off my hand. Like, look at that. Okay, we're gonna throw the old, well, this is number 7. Where's the old number 1 bag? Oh. The old number 1 bag, we're just gonna throw over here, and so we know we're done with cleaning piston number 1. You know? Things and stuff. Because, yeah. Okay. You know, make sure if you want to see this 05 running, you know, hopefully within the next few months, by the end of the year, hopefully I'll have my Camaro running. This 305 small block swapped 4th gen Camaro is my goal here, basically, because I rebuilt the V6 and the V6 isn't running, and I'm missing a sensor that was discontinued like 10 or 15 years ago, and they don't make it anymore. And so it's going to get bad fuel economy and probably not pass emissions if I do keep that V6 and throw much more money into it to try to get it running, but that's not even guaranteed because there's a bunch of unknowns. 305, I spent $300 to rebuild it, and that's basically guaranteed. Just, it's a small block, you know. Small block, you turn the key, they start right up. I'll probably get a better 4-barrel because there's an emissions era small block, so removing all the emission stuff will probably get the 305 up to 170 to 200 horsepower from the 145. And probably above 250 foot-pounds of torque, so it's not like a crazy engine, but it'll be reliable enough. It's not good on fuel, but it's easier to find parts for and easier to work on than the V6, because the V6 is a 90-degree V6, and so it's sticking further up in the engine bay, so you're like, you have like that much room in between the hand and its paint. With the V8 60 degree, it sits a lot lower, and so it would be easier to get underneath there and work on some things. We'll see how we can. Should we remove the rings? Well, let's see how. Oh, gee, this is crusty. That's like crustier than. That's. Bikini bottom or something, I don't know. Okay, what next? Or why am I don't even know. What next? What am I saying? We're gonna remove the rings next is what's next, actually. See, these ones aren't stuck, so they won't stay in place. I gotta actually use 2 hands to get them off. Maybe. Now these are ticking time bombs, if you can't tell. Hey, there's actual, okay, now there's actual markings, which is the top on piston number 1 that had that weird hole in it, just like piston 8 didn't have markings which way was up. It's usually with rings, so I'm just confused, to be honest. So that's top. That hopefully, is it focusing? I hope so. This is bottom compression ring, or whatever you call it, that doesn't want to come off at the moment, or time being. Hello. Possibly it may. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. Now we don't want to gouge the piston now. You know, easy does it. Now that's the bottom one. And usually with these oiler rings and oiler ring gap thingy, separator, whatever's, yeah, like right here, you just push them up, and they're so thin that you can just take them off with your fingers. Yeah. You just go around, and here it is. And we'll just throw that right there. Then next, this one is kind of, these rings are, the actual oil rings are kind of a pain, because there we go. Well, I guess that oil ring, there's a noticeable gap right there. Normally they're supposed to be tight. So, you know, oh gosh, I'm just bending everything. Uh-oh. Oh, it's like stuck to. Okay, there's the oiler ring. And this bottom, whatever you call that separator ring thingy for the oiler ring. Okay, so now we know which order, and that one, this one's not as dirty in those ring grooves, but it's still pretty bad. It's not as dirty as the last piston, but it's still up there, and you know, being dirty. I tried changing my steering wheel cover, and my car blew up. Sounds about right. You know, I just wanted to make my Camaro go quicker after getting, instead of just doing a rebuild. And now it won't. Yeah, yeah, basically. Yeah, so hopefully putting the 305 in the Camaro will get it going better than the V6, or actually start on like the V6. Because the V6, there's a lot of unknowns with that one. 210,000 miles, even though it's rebuilt. It's been rebuilt twice, but it was rebuilt really bad the first time. And I don't know how well I did, and starter probably needs replaced, but along with the fuel pump, and I don't want to deal with that necessarily, and so I might just put the small block, which is easier to get parts for, just as reliable, but it's just worse fuel economy. That's the only downside. But I already have, I don't even care, honestly. So I just put the rings in the order they came out: top, bottom, compression rings, and then oiler, spacer rings, and oiler ring, just to know, you know, keep track of things and whatnot. Make sure, if you want to see this 305 running in my 4th gen Camaro, so I'm going to put a small block in a 95 Camaro, probably. If you want to see it running and driving and going down the road and whatnot, make sure you're subscribed and you like, and if you have any questions about the thing, you can ask me and I'll respond, you know. Oh, okay. That's what we got. That's what we should do next. We should find a funnel and make a mess trying to refill this. Ooh, carb clean. You know, degreaser and carb clean. It was weird. I put carb clean in, or brake clean, and then I put degreaser in, and the brake clean was going all crazy, and the carb clean, like making a, it was, I don't know what it was doing. It was some sort of chemical reaction of some sort. Should I try it without a funnel? We're gonna try it without a funnel. Make it, oh wait, here, we can do it over here. So if we spill, or no, when we spill, we get it in the, yep, Well, we spilled about half of it, but we got about 3% in the bottle, so that should be enough to to do something with, you know. If this, hey, look at that, it sprays. Sometimes these lids, like this degreaser is good, but the lids or whatever suck. Or not the lids, the sprayers. Half the time they don't even spray. Okay. Maybe we'll have to clean that out some more. But, you know, things and stuff. Okay, so I guess we could label a bag for this piston. I don't know. Well, no, we gotta do some more scrubbing first, and then we can label a bag for the piston. But, yeah. So, should I? Yeah, we'll do, because we gotta get all this crud off the end here. And once we get all this stuff off, let's see how that's coming off. Yeah, it's wiping off nice. We'll let that sit on there, and we'll scrub some. Ow. We'll scrub some more. And once we, you know, I wanted to go to Camaro tour this year, but timing didn't work, and then I didn't have any of the Camaros running because they just decided not to. So maybe next year we can have the small block swapped Camaro at the Camaro rally in Sturgis, which would be kind of cool. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Trying to figure out how to hold this so it stays in place, or so it. Alright, now let's see what that did. Oh yeah, that's like, you can brush your teeth in that, that's so shiny. Not really, but you know. Let's let some more degreaser sit on there. Maybe some carb clean. Let's see what that does. Does that eat it away a little bit? I think that's kind of working. I think we'll have to let this sit and soak some more. So we'll scrub some, so that'll help the process a little bit. Yeah, it's getting the carbon off there, kind of slowly-ish, but it's getting there. Okay. Well, there we go. We'll let that soak some more. But yeah, like I said, you know, if you're new here, this I'm including the pistons to a 305 that was in my El Camino that we LS swapped, and now I'm gonna put the 305 small block into my Camaro. It has a V6 that I rebuilt, but it's not running, and it's missing sensors, and it's the whole thing. And so I might put the small block in the 4th gen Camaro. So if you want to see that, then make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you like, and you know, do the stuff. But I think there's a little bit of build up here. Like, I got this kind of shiny, so if I can let some more degreaser soak on there and do a little little scrubbing, yeah, that kind of cleans it up. So we'll let that soak on there. Then see what happens. Yeah, so this is like the second piston, so it's gonna take a while to get all 8 pistons. They're in these bags labeled, but we'll get there soon enough, maybe. Probably not, because it's gonna take forever. But like in like 8 hours, we might have all the pistons cleaned. Hopefully it'll be quicker than that. But I think maybe I could soak 2 at a time, but I don't want to lose track because I could have the numbers of the bag with the piston on what side. Then I'll lose track, and it's not like you need to keep track, but it's probably better to, So we'll see. I got the rings off of this one, so maybe I'll clean this up a little more, then I'll put it in a bag and whatnot, but yeah. So basically, I think I need to get a bag. This is piston number 7. Yes, piston number 7. I don't know, so we'll label number 7. That looks like a math symbol, What's that one? Bigger than great? I don't know. So let's do a little more scrubbing, and then we'll, let's just get all this off, and then we'll be done with this piston. Okay. So now, I kind of want to get a camping chair to sit on. So I've just been standing for the last hour. Maybe a camping chair would, I don't know. Try and just clean this up as much as I can. It's not gonna be perfect, but any cleaning is an improvement of what it was. It's not, advanced weight reduction because I'm not removing it in any rust, but it's weight reduction, removing all this grease. Like yeah. Okay, we'll let that sit on there. And I don't know. Okay. I got my little camping chair to sit on. I don't know if you can see it, but we'll see how. One question. What's your question? I'm here to answer. If it does have a smell, I'm kind of immune to it. Cause if I'm getting woozy, I'm not. If I like randomly fall and faint, I probably won't even notice, cause realize, cause I've been around enough carb clean. I probably have so much brain damage, it's not even noticeable. It kind of has a smell because I have like degreaser and brake clean and WD-40 degreaser and simple green degreaser and lightning degreaser, and I think I added some tri-fuel and brake clean and whatnot. So it's all the smells. It kind of has a strong smell. It's not too bad. This used to be green. Now it's black because of the piston, but you know, it's a yeah. I guess you could say it does. Let's see here. Alright, let's see if I sit how well I can. Ugh. I think I should still be able to. If you have any other questions, then you know I'm here to answer them. I'm sitting way too well. I can't do this. Thanks for the thumbs up. You know, make sure you subscribe too. I'm gonna be putting this 305 in a 1995 4th gen Camaro. So, what's up? I don't know, not much. I'm just kind of, you know, doing the thing. Cause I woke up and I was like, oh, I don't got nothing to do, and then I was like, oh, I got these pistons to clean. Because the engines and the block and all the other parts are at my grandparents', but the pistons I took home to clean to do this, so then I can take it and I don't know. And so I had nothing to do today, so I was like, oh, I'll just clean the pistons. So I brought them home, and that's what I'm doing. You know? Let's see here. I'm gonna make sure to wait. You know, I could be wearing gloves. I probably should, because I got all sorts of cuts from building a fence yesterday. But if I could just put my whole hand in there, then, you know, it'll probably not feel too good, but whatever. Okay. Yeah. Like, I don't know how to get this stuff off. I'm kind of scrubbing it. It was the same thing with the Plymouth pistons. It was just as dirty because of the carbon deposits, and the 305 was burning more oil. But yeah, natural barrier, yeah. Kind of like when I was little, I didn't even ever wear shoes when I was playing outside because, you know, just like strengthen up feet. No, I just didn't feel like putting shoes on, you know. Same thing, you just get hand cancer and then you'll, you know. Very slowly eating away these deposits, but it's better than, you know, whatever. Hey, there's some silver under there. Look at that. Okay. Wipe that off. Yeah, we still got some more scrubbing to do. So we'll let that soak some more. And I need to find, I had a purple power degreaser thingy. I don't want to use all this degreaser, but I want to soak the pistons most of the way. But, you know. And I don't want to use, so I guess we'll just keep, you know. I'm building the 427 Hemi for my dad. How's that? The LS, we didn't rebuild the LS. But it was like 130,000 miles. We just pulled it, or bought it. Someone pulled and then threw it in. This is the 305. I've only rebuilt my Camaro engine, the Plymouth engine, and my 305. The LS, like putting it in wasn't terrible, but we didn't rebuild it. We just straight put it in, and then cold air intake and headers is all we really did to it. And I guess, you know, yeah, I rebuilt my Camaro engine around the same time, but on the Plymouth engine, and I'm gonna probably be LS swapping one of my friends that I've kind of known since like kindergarten. Her dad has an 80, or 66 or 68 El Camino that I'm going to be LS swapping, and I'm going to probably be rebuilding that because it might be cheaper to get an LS from like a 2015, Chevy Express or whatever, like a 6.0 LS in there, but it has the dot or the DOD, the what's it called, whatever. And so I'm gonna have to delete the DOD and not take that apart. So I'll do a partial rebuild on that. Probably nothing too major if it doesn't have too many miles, but Harbor Freighted. Wait, yeah. I might have to try that for degreaser, but this stuff we just got off of Amazon. It's Chinese special. I don't know. It's been working okay with some brake clean and other degreasers, but yeah. So if you're new to the stream in the last 10 minutes, we're going to be putting this is the Pistons from 305 that was in my El Camino that we now have an LS in, but that engine was burning like a ton of oil, and so it's probably the rings. I still have to measure the rings, to see if it was the rings or if it's the cylinder walls. If it's the cylinder walls, I'll just bore it out to 327 and have a 327 in my Camaro. But I'm going to be putting the 327 or 305, depending what I do with it, in my Camaro. So it'll be a small block swapped 4th gen Camaro. So if you want to see that in a couple months, make sure you're subscribed and you like and you do the stuff. Anyway. So I guess did I label a bag? Okay, I already labeled a bag for this one, number 7. It's like it's just best to keep track of which piston goes where, not like, Yeah, my Camaro, it's yeah, cause I got the Plymouth 1950 Plymouth, the 1974 subs on it, my 95 Camaro on the 84 El Camino. The El Camino has an LS. My Camaro right now has a V6 that I rebuilt. I don't know if I did something wrong, but it's missing like a cam. It has 2 cam sensors. And one of the cam sensors has been discontinued for like 12 years or something, and so I can't find the sensor unless I go to a junkyard, but they're all picked over at junkyards. And so that could be why it's not starting. It could be because I put a cam in there plus that sensor. It's a whole thing. And so putting the 305 deal, I'd rather deal with a carburetor and distributor rather than a computer and ignition coils and crank sensors and cam sensors. I just would rather have a distributor. And so I might have to cut the firewall a little bit to fit a distributor. It's because the firewall wraps around, like here's the firewall, here's where you sit, but the firewall kind of wraps around the top of the engine. That's why they're kind of hard to work on. But the 90-degree V6 sits up a lot higher than a 60-degree V8, and so I'd have a lot of room down there, and I might have to cut the firewall just to make a little more room, but it shouldn't be too terrible to work on, because if you've ever seen a 4th gen Camaro engine bay, they're tight, and so it might make it easier to work on even with the bigger engine. There's kind of a nice gouge in that piston. You see that right there? Interesting. So I don't know what got in that. I don't know what got in there, but something damaged that piston wheel. So I might have to get new pistons. I could be lazy and I might not, because it was running when he pulled it. So we don't need to get new pistons, but yeah, it's probably debris, because valve contact would be more of a. Here, I can try to clean it up. You can see right there, right? It's kind of a. I don't think that's valve contact. I mean, it could be, but it's kind of a weird, and then it's like a 7 shape. Oh wait, hold up. This is piston number 7. It has a 7 on. Hold up. Let me get piston number 1. Maybe that's just a coincidence, because piston number 1 doesn't have a 1 on it. Because That looks like a 7, I don't know. To me that looks like a 7, but does that look like a 7 to you? Yeah, you can see right there, and this is piston number 7, so, but normally they would stamp it right here, not on the piston, so I don't know. Let me clean up piston. Another piston should have that if that's the case. So let me clean up this piston and I'm just kind of doing a little, like 70-80% of it, you know, cleaned, and I'll get the rest before I put the rings in. So like that, I'll clean the rest up before I put the rings on, and the ring grooves, I'll clean up that, but you know, it's clean enough, better than these ones. And clean up inside the piston a little bit. And you know, what video ideas, like what videos do you want? Because like, I'm thinking of like taking the El Camino, seeing if, calling like a Chevy. I need to call the dealership to see if they would, you know, still service a 84 El Camino. But I go in with the LS swapped El Camino, and they're like, so you know, what engine does it got? And you know, they can plug in the OBD2, because it has an OBD2 now because the LS. And then they'd see it's a 2004 GTO, because that's, you know, it'd be kind of funny, I think, LS swapped El Camino, take it to an, you know, Chevy dealer for an engine, or for a oil change or whatever, and confuse them a little bit. Or take the Plymouth, you know, 75-year-old car to a Chrysler dealer. That would be kind of funny. Yeah, so that piston's good enough for now. Okay, so yeah, but from 2 pistons, like cleaning them like 80%, then, you know, yeah, if it's got a modern engine, yeah, you totally get it serviced. Yeah, I think that would be kind of funny, because it's a 2004, it's an LS, so it's a modern engine from 2000, but it's from 2004, but it's still an LS. They still make LSs today, I think, so I think they'd be able to service it. We'll do, what is this? Number 3. Sure. Okay. Yeah, because I think that'd be funny. Or like even taking the Plymouth. See, and is that a 5 stamped on there? Or a 3? That'd be weird if they stamped it on the actual piston though. I don't know. We'll let that soak in there and see what happens. But let me show you the bearings. Because here's a bearing that fell out, so I don't gotta clean it up a little bit. This one isn't the worst, but you look at, like, that bearing's been bad for a while. But what's kind of cool here is, let me just get it to focus. Right there. Yeah, right there it says 484. It's an 84 El Camino, so April of 84. So, you know, and it's like all the measurements, but like, you know, that's kind of cool there, the markings. So the El Camino was made in April of 84. I never knew that until, you know, if you find the bearings. I didn't even care to look for other markings, but, you know, we'll clean that up a little bit, and then we'll make a new bag for it. Yeah, but like the Plymouth, like, here's a 75-year-old 130 to 150,000 mile engine, and usually the inline sixes of the day maybe did 75 to 100,000 if you're lucky. And this is an original bearing. It has a little bit of scoring, but that's my fault. This is after being it's a whole story with the Plymouth, because the engine needed rebuild. It lost compression. I rebuilt it, but I torqued down. I mistaked the end rod cap bolts for the it's a whole, yeah. So I torqued them down too much. Got the engine to rotate, and then I pulled it again to rebuild it, kind of, whatever. So this is even after being torqued down too tight and 130 something thousand miles. And this is a 75-year-old bearing, and you know, so this just shows how hard that engine was really working. Because this is just a normal, you know, this is more miles, but this is, and older car and older engine, but because the original owner of the El Camino towed an Airstream, like all across the country, so that's why that's worn down and not in good shape. Because, you know, if I don't bump the, there you go. Because towing a Airstream with a 80s emission era El Camino sounds like a great idea. Had 120 something thousand miles on it, 124, and it was burning oil like no other. So. Number. Is this number 3? Yeah, number 3. Okay. And just so we can keep track of what's what, we'll put the bearing in there. There we go. Okay. So this is number 3 piston. I guess we can start soaking it. And yeah, we'll let that sit for a little while, but I guess we can start scrubbing the top. Let's see what that did. No, that cleans up. So, well, that's a little more though. And should I get a chair? I could get a chair. Should I? Maybe. I don't know, because the chair I got, I've been just standing because it's too short and it's not worth trying to, I don't know, you know, it's kind of one of those things. Okay, so we'll let this soak, and then this water's like, or not water, degreaser is literally black. Like, that's disgusting. From 2 pistons and this one. So, you know, that's just lovely. Yeah, so we'll tighten that up. Yeah. Okay, so. Oh, did we get the rings on? Yeah, we did get the rings. Okay. I'm gonna make sure the rings are unstuck on. Nope, rings are stuck on this one. So we'll have to let this one soak more than others. It's not like I care about the rings, but I need to keep them halfway decent to measure them. But look at this piston. This is definitely one of the ones burning oil. You can tell because, you know, the way it is, you know. Let's see. Like, I just can't damage the piston. That's all I care. Cause I think I'm gonna try to reuse these pistons, but the rings, I don't really care. I should not break them. I don't want to gouge the piston, or else I can. So this one's. Well, let's see if we can. Oh yeah, we can see some rust in there. That could be from sitting too. Why it is stuck, but that could be also got stuck, or you know, whatever, and that could be why it was burning some oil. If the ring actually got stuck when it was running, but I don't know if it did. I don't want to cut myself because I've already done that once trying to get the rings off. So. Yeah, I could pace myself, but you know, I'm 16 and I got more back pain than, I don't even know, I swear. I got back pain, neck pain, everything, all over the place. It just kind of, I just need a factory reset from, it's a problem, I don't even know. Yeah, we're gonna have to let that sit so that ring can. Oh, let me get some TV glass here. Maybe that'll get the ring unstuck. Guess guess not. I don't know where any went. But I know I had some at one point. Is the head iron or aluminum? You could soak it in some white vinegar and break the... Oh yeah. The head, I think... Oh, the piston or like the cylinder head, because cylinder head I know is steel or iron, I think. I don't know. I know on my LS it's aluminum, but it's iron, I think. Yeah, piston head. I believe, that looks like, I don't think it'd be aluminum. It could be. That's a great question. I mean, you could look it up if, what is a 305 piston head, aluminum or iron or whatever. I think it's probably aluminum or iron. Good question. Maybe I can look it up. Let me look it up. Okay, is a 30, let's see, is a 305 piston head iron or aluminum? Yeah. Typical cast iron. Well, that's the head. Cylinder head, pistons. Pistons are it's either that didn't give a very clear answer. It's either forged aluminum or, because I mean the brush. Let me clean that up. It doesn't look like it's scratching it, but I mean, it's a small block. I think a couple of scratches won't really prevent nothing from running, but good call out. I mean, I've done this on all their engines and they're running just fine, so. I mean, I could get a nylon brush. Let me go look for one. Because I know we bought new brushes. They're like brass, steel, and nylon brushes. I got this Scotch Brite stuff. See what that does to it. I don't know. It doesn't really do much. Well, it kind of actually does. Oh, and then it even soaks up the... This might actually work. Okay, there's a weird marking on this one too. You can see it kind of starting to pop out right there. That looks like a 7 or a 2. But this is piston 3, so I don't know. Yeah, there's not visible. Yeah, so I think it's there, because there's not visible scratching from that, so I think we're fine. It's a small block. It should run no matter what, I just got to be careful because I don't want to, because this will gouge a piston. I just got to get this deposit off. Oh, maybe that'll come off easier than I thought. Yeah, this is coming off easier than I thought. Okay. Now we'll... Okay, what's that marking there? That looks like another 7. But then those right there, that looks like the valve hitting the piston or something, or a debris getting in there and hitting the piston. Yeah, it could be iron, it could be aluminum. I'm not sure, because that was kind of the era they might have been, I don't know, using some aluminum, but like I know my LS is definitely aluminum, because aluminum block, aluminum pistons, all the stuff, but this, it's, I don't know. I think we're fine. Yeah, because, yeah, this one looks like a stamp, but I don't know what that means. And that looks like just a 7 or a bottom of a 2, I don't know. But this one, let me clean that off for you. I don't know what that looks like to you, but that one there almost looks like the valve hitting the piston. Which I still could use these pistons. They're not like, a little bit damaged like that is not gonna stop your engine from running. It's a small block Chevy, you know. They'll run on, you stuff some corn in the gas tank and alcohol and, you know, vodka, and throw some dirt in the intake and they'll still start, you know, whatever. It's a small block, you know. So we'll probably still use these pistons unless we see some more damage worse, but I don't like at this point. I just want to get, how cheap can I get my Camaro going, or how cheap can I get this engine running? So like I could bore it out to a 327, and I have access to bore it out for free. I just need to buy the pistons and whatever to do that, but I don't know if I want to go through that or if I just want to try to get it running. So if we can get this ring unstuck, then we can get the rings off. But we'll see. I don't want to damage them too much because I still want to measure these rings, see what the gap and whatnot is, to see, you know. But I'm gonna cut myself again, aren't I? Okay, let's try screwdriver. Nothing. Let's try one this way. Cause this side of the ring is unstuck, but I don't want to. So I'm trying to use that to. I just don't want to damage the piston. Ugh, maybe. Might have done something. Got it unstuck till here. Maybe. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. Snap the ring. But I don't yeah, because you can see some rust. That's probably from sitting, getting water in the carburetor or something, and rusting. Yeah, so I got the other half off. So I got one ring off, you know. We can still measure that. But now we'll get the second ring off. Once we get the second ring off, then we can get the oiler rings off. Okay. Now these oiler rings just have a gap, and push that forward and they should just slide off. Yep. And this one has a smaller gap, so you have to kind of go around until you find it. There it is. And same thing, it just slides right off. And then this oil ring just comes right off like the other one. Or this spacer, I guess you'd call it. Okay. Now we'll let that soak. And these I'm not going to zip tie because I know which the first ring broke, second one is intact, and the oiler rings they're whatever. So I guess we'll clean these up, throw them in the bag, and then we'll get the piston a little cleaner, and then we'll say that's good enough. If I don't lose half the ring. Alright. Good enough. Interesting. Okay. Now, throw it in the bag. And we'll call that good. clean up my hands a little bit. Yeah, I've kind of just got, I mean, YouTube's been a good help with, you know, some of this, just getting to know, but because my grandpa, he had the Saab, and it was just sitting in the garage, so I was like, if I get that going, can I have that as a daily driver? And he's like, sure. And then I just kept going, then with the Plymouth, and then we finished the LS swap on the El Camino, and then now I'm doing this to my Camaro, so. It's kind of just been trial and error with some learning things or YouTube or, you know. Okay. So this will let soak a little more. I'm going to try to find the other degreaser. I know it's here somewhere, I just don't know where. I should probably open the garage a little bit so I'm not, you know, with chemicals and, you know, it's fine. Okay. I'm gonna find some other degreaser to make it all the way up the little. I don't know where I put the other degreaser. I found some evapor rust. I found some evapor rust with the lid off, and I went to shake it, and it fell off and made a mess. That's fine. Well, you know, throw some evapor rust in there, because who knows, there might be some rust on the rings. You know, that might help. Yeah. I don't think I'll, yeah. Well, just a tad bit of that. Yeah, I don't know, I might, someday I could rebuild, you know, supercars and things, but it would have to be, I don't know, I'd walk past a supercar to go look at a beat up square body, but that's just me. So if I had the money for a supercar, I probably would just buy like 20 beat up rusty square bodies and projects, you know, because why not? Alright, so I found the evapor rust, so it's probably somewhere around there. Let me go look again for more degrees. I must have used that all in the last rebuild because that made a mess and whatever, so I'll just, you know, a little more of that and then a little more vapor rust maybe, and then we'll call it a day, you know. Well, I won't call it a day, but we'll say it's full enough. Yeah, old F-150s, Mustangs. My friend, he found a 85 F-150 with a 4-speed manual and a 300 inline 6, running and driving. It needs paint still. It needed some work to get running good. All in all, he's probably like 2,500 into it, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. And now it's running. It just needs some paint. And there's a couple of small things that needs to be taken care of, but yeah, the F1, you know, he got it for $1,200 running and driving, you know, F-150. So, and he might get a square body from his aunt and uncle soon. So, you know, F-150s. I'd prefer square body over an F-150, but I'd still like the F-150s, like the old like 60s F-100s. Those were nice too. But you know. 89 with a 300, yeah, straight 6. Yeah, and the truck, it's rough on the outside and there's some body work that needs to be done and whatnot, but it only has 85,000 miles, and it's, you know, but that 300 will run forever. And so that'll be his daily driver, along with my daily driver's 84 El Camino with the LS, 74 Saabs on it, and a 50 Plymouth, and then soon this 95 Camaro will be another one of my dailies. But, you know, so that'll be his daily. Besides the fuel economy, you know, 12 miles a gallon, they're real good engines. It's like, you don't get them for, you know, the fuel economy, but you get them for, they're reliable, they're cheap, and, you know, they'll go forever, so. Yeah, and then hopefully soon we get my dad's 86 Camaro going, because that was his high school car, and we got it running. We don't have it moving because the clutch won't disengage, and we've had the transmission out like 3 times, and something was messed up with hydraulics, something. We don't know. So, and then my grandpa has a 95 Camaro, or not Camaro, I have a 95 Camaro, my grandpa has a 95 Corvette. And I guess if you count my sister's 95 Silverado too. Her Silverado is the LT, but it has 262,000 miles on her, something like that. She's put 30,000, 40,000 miles in the last year on it, and it's done just fine. So, you know, they're good trucks too. Yeah, the only thing on since it's an emissions era 300, we've taken off a bunch of emission stuff, and it's running a lot better. But the one thing, the way they did the idle electronically was this thing, and it's messed up, so I just have a tower stem, and I have the idle thing glued, because it's like an electronic idle thing that pushes the idle instead of a screw. There's still screws, but the screws don't do anything. And so I have the idle mostly, but it's kind of weird once it's yeah. But it, you know. Okay, let's see if, did we get the rings off? Yeah, we did. Alright, the rings are right there. I guess we get this bearing off, and because the other one, whatever. Yeah, the 85 300, if you're talking about the whatever EFI on that, it's still a carb. It's just a normal 1-barrel carb, but it's the way they control the idle is, instead of just using the screws, they have a bracket that holds this computerized like module thing. And yeah, Aviation Apocalypse, that's the one with the truck, but the idle is weird on it. So it's like a computer controlled idle on it's weird how it works. I don't know what it's all for, but we could just get rid of it probably, or try to find a new one. I don't know. If I can get this bearing out without messing up the... I'm gonna have to get this, whatever. Oh, there goes there we go. Guess that needed to be cleaned anyway. Or not. So this bearing is just, I don't want to damage nothing. There we go. Let's see, did I scratch nothing up? So, we're doing good. Okay, we're fine. Yeah, but again, look at this bearing. You know, that's completely messed up again. Like, this engine was running hard. So I guess we'll throw this bearing. Like, this side is not terrible, but you can still see where it's worn down. Right there, and then it's real thin here, and then it's real thick up here. And then, yeah. I don't know, because on Saturday we have my high school, their car show, and I'm helping with stuff that there, and I have to get up at 6:30 anyway. So I'm debating if I get up to wash the Plymouth at like 5 a.m. because I have to get up early anyway, or if I wash it the day before. So I don't know. I should take, wait, me or who? Wait. I could go drive by to, wait, what? I'm confused. I was gonna go drive by to check on your truck, because since you're not home, but I kind of forgot yesterday. I didn't have time. Well, I had time. I drove by your house to go to Daniels Park yesterday, but you know, low power something or 59%, or no, not 6% on my iPad. It's in the garage, so it should be fine. Okay, good. Low battery, 10%. Uh-oh. I should probably go get a charger. Do I even got a plug out here? Yeah, there's a plug out here. So I could go get a charger. I might not. I might, you never know. I might also get a chair. Just be able to sit down and do this would be nice. This is kind of crooked, that's why it wouldn't come off. I need to... I don't know. Got the rings off, so I don't know what else there is to do. Besides, I guess, well, how's the head of this piston look? Alright. This is the one with the... How many cylinders does this car have? This is the El Camino's old engine, so it was a small block V8, so 8 cylinders. Because I don't know, have I told you, Connor? I don't think I've told you, or whatever, about oh, I'm just all over. Okay. So the El Camino's old engine, which was a V8, but it was a kind of underpowered and whatever, because the new V8 that's in there, the LS, is better engine anyway. But anyway, the old engine that I could rebuild, and since my Camaro's not running, I don't feel like dealing with ignition or crank sensors and computers and fuel injection and whatnot. I might pull the V6 again and then put the V8 in. So the old El Camino engine would go into my Camaro. So I don't think I told you that, but that's, I think, what I'm planning on doing with my Camaro now. Well, and then the 305 with I had the TR350 or whatever, TH350, whatever, whatchamacallit, like, well, oh yeah, it only has 3 speeds, and it's first gear is like a 252, so it's kind of a tall gear versus, but and then the 4L60 that is in my Camaro, if I get a different torque converter, I think it should work. Has a 306 first gear, so it has a lot shorter first gear, so it'll help get a lot more horsepower to the wheels than the El Camino had. So it should be, even though it's 160 to 200 horsepower and 250 to 300 foot-pounds of torque, it's not the quickest engine in the world, especially the emissions era ones. But with the 4L60 and the extra 4-speed, that should help with miles a gallon and getting up and going. So I think it'd be as quick, if not quicker, than the V6 that's in there. So it'd get less miles a gallon, but that's whatever. I already have, the El Camino already gets like 23 to 25 miles a gallon, depending on, or really 19 to 23, depending on what type of driving you're doing. but it can get up to like 25 to 27, and it'll do 0 to 60 in like 4 seconds. So the LS is a good engine for fuel economy and power, and it's relatively cheap, and parts for it is relatively easy to get. Yeah, just add another fuel tank. I could. There's probably room in the back. I'll just add an extra fuel cell in the, I'll have like a 30-gallon tank then. That's, it's a possibility. I could always do it. Okay, we're gonna scrape a little more off. We'll get the last little bit of this carbon off carefully, and then we'll say that this is good enough. I just don't want to scratch the pistons. But yeah, right there, it looks like the valves or something was hitting the piston. I don't know. Okay. If you're new here, I'm cleaning the pistons for my from a 305 small block put in to my 1995 Camaro, so it's gonna be small block swapped Camaro, small block swapped 4th gen Camaro. So if you want to see that, then make sure you're subscribed and whatnot. Let me get another bag for this piston. Number 4. Where'd my Sharpie go? I'm losing it. Well, I guess this one's getting written red. Unless we can find that. Here's my green Sharpie. What number is this? Number 4? Yeah, number 4. Okay, so I got bag number 4. I had to keep track of what piston's what. Ooh, this was a, look at that. That's lovely. Tasty. Oh, number 1, number 4, and number 8 have this little hole in the piston. I don't know, that's weird. We'll let that soak in there. And this bag is junk, so. Okay. We'll scrub this a little bit, and then we'll just let that sit. Because, yeah, and then the rings on this one are stuck, so that's going to be interesting trying to get those off. But hopefully they come off. I don't know if they will. They might not. Who knows? And I might have to scrape them off. What am I doing? I might have to scrape them off with this, or pry them off and break them, because they might not come off with this. So if they won't come off with the ring compressor, then I'll just use a screwdriver to get them off. Yeah, but the only thing with the small block swap is the torque converter and flywheel. I'm not 100% sure how that would work, but that's not a. I think it's just either taking the 305 torque converter and putting it on the 4L60E, or taking the other way around, or just buying a new torque converter. Although whatever, but otherwise it should just bolt right up to the. Because it's the same bell housing. Like all bell housings, or most Chevy bell housings, from 55 to like 90s or 2000s, or even I think up to even some modern day bell housing, the same bolt pattern then as from 55 and up. So that's kind of nice. Most transmissions are built to most engines. So Let's see if this one's, yeah, because you see how the rings are completely stuck on there. Like, they should move right now. Like, this one is flush with the, so that could be another reason why it was burning oil, but we'll scrape as much of that off as possible. And then we'll just gotta be careful to not scratch the piston. I think this is one with the valves open. And so it got some water after, sitting outside under a tarp for a bunch of years, and so this could have been one that got water in it, and that's why the rings are stuck. But if it's not because of the water, then it's because of the whatever, and it was just burning a bunch of oil, and that would explain quite a bit with why it was burning so much oil. But we'll just kind of clean this up for now. Scrub most of this off, and then we'll let it soak some more. Then we'll spray some more degreaser on it. And that should soak, and we'll see what that does. What else? I guess carb clean we could. Gotta head out. Fell off last. Yeah. Alright. See ya. Yeah. Well, we'll keep on cleaning the pistons, and we'll probably be here for the next few hours, so if you ever want to pop back in, Okay. I'm kind of thirsty. I should probably go get some water. That lightning strike within 10 miles. Yeah, we'll be fine. Potentially, maybe. We're at 3,800 feet, or 13,800. That's pretty good. Okay. Let's see. 200, 2,000. Yeah. But if you're new here, because it's been a while, as I told you, if you're new here, I'm cleaning the pistons for a 305 small block out of my 84 El Camino that I LS swapped, and now we're gonna put the 305 into my 1995 Camaro. So we're small block Chevy swapped 95 Camaro. So if you wanna subscribe and do the stuff, that'd be great. Like and all the things. Be pretty good. But that's up to you. It's only if you want to see a small, carbureted with the carbureted small block Chevy and a 4th-gen Camaro. That's up to you. If you want to see that, subscribe. If you don't, that's okay. Okay. Clean this up a little more. Oh, that's crusty. Look at that. That is very crusty. off and try to get most of that off. I probably should find the PB blaster to get these rings soaked, to get the rings off, but oh, maybe this ring might try to come out. Let's see. I just don't want to scratch the pistons or nothing. Hey, I might have gotten one ring partially unstuck. I may be Albert Einstein. Not actually. I'm not that smart. Kinda. Okay. Maybe if I go around, I just don't want to scratch the piston. Yeah, I'm gonna damage something if I do that. We'll try to get this one, maybe. Okay, possibly. Let's see if I can get the bottom one off, maybe. Because the top one's completely stuck, so that one won't be in the way. Hey, maybe. Look at that, I got one ring off. Let's look at the condition. A little rusty. Tad bit. Could be worse, I guess. You know? We'll keep that one there. But okay, what time is it? 2:08. I've been live for 2 hours. You know, if you're new here, make sure you're subscribed. If you want to see small block swap Camaro. I've said that like a million times, but if you're new, you know, might as well. I could find the thing to measure. I need to measure the rings, the distance, or the whatever, and I need to look up what they're supposed to be. And if they're way out of whack or way small, then I know that's the reason why it was burning a bunch of oil. But let's see if I can find that. Found the duct tape. I don't know where the... Yeah. Oh, look at that. I found some more whatever things to scrub with. I'm not finding the... I need to clean the garage. I don't know. It's probably somewhere in this mess somewhere. I don't know. Don't ask me. It's probably in the whatever measuring computer thing. I'm sure it's somewhere here. Looks like it's about to rain, I think. It's a little cloudy outside. My phone's at 2%. I'm gonna go get a charger. Give me... Actually, let me spray this and then I'll... Okay. Oh, it's at 1%. I'll be right back. Alright, if the stream stops, it's because my phone died. I got it plugged in. Possibly. Okay. It's charging. We're charging. Hey, see, that's what you do. You see that, you know, it's low power, and you put it on low power mode. Then you get lazy, and then you're like, oh, it's at 2%, and then it goes to 1%. Then you gotta scramble. It worked out. I got my charger in. We're fine. We're fine. You know? Open the garage to see how, if it's raining or not. So I'm not sure if it's raining. So I gotta, you know, almost. It's cloudy. Make sure you're subscribed and whatnot, because if you like old cars and stuff, I got a lot of them. You know. Make sure you like and do the stuff. Well, it's not raining or anything, but it's pretty cloudy, you know? So we'll let this piston soak some more. Let's see what happens. Let's see, almost. You all. Sort by. Okay. We'll stay live for another couple of minutes. We'll do another hour or so, I guess. So we got 4 and a half pistons to still clean and get the rings off of. So. Let's see if this ring will come unstuck yet. We'll close the garage once it. Under, that's a car. Let's see if we can get this ring unstuck yet. Nope. Let's see if we can scrub around the ring. I need to get PB Blaster to get in there to loosen that rust or corrosion or oil or whatever is keeping that ring stuck. If this doesn't work, then I'll go try to find some PB Blaster. And we'll do the same with the oiler ring. Okay. We'll let that soak some more. I'm gonna go. Well, we can. No. I guess we go get the PB Blaster and see what that would do. Guess we'll let that soak some more. I saw some PB Blaster recently. And I know I was using it recently. I don't know where it ended up. So WD-40 is gonna have to do. went and got the WD-40 and found this. So, okay. See if we can get these rings off. Because this stuff has to sit for a while. I swear. It's going to take forever to get... You know, I've gotten 4 pistons done in a bunch of hours. So yeah, it is like water boiling, because... Or watching water boil. Because stuff takes forever. We'll put some in there too. So... Oh yeah, you can see that rust coming out of there. See that turning brown? So that's getting in there and getting some of that away. Okay, we'll let that sit some more. Now we gotta wait. So that's about all there is to do. Well, I guess we could scrub some more. If I can get in there. Let's see what this does. Well, that lighting's not terrible. Just that one light was getting kind of hot. See if we can clean the inside of this piston here. Okay. Yeah, we'll let that sit some more. Yeah, that's cleaning up. We just gotta get that one ring off. And so, if the PB blaster can do its job, we can get in there and whatever. Might have to get the smaller screwdriver to get in there. Don't want to damage the piston, but I gotta get this off somehow. Hey, look at that. Oh yeah, that's rusted. That was rusted in there. Now we do that one more time. This stuff started off as like a green, clear green. Now it's like a, yeah. Yeah, if I break the ring, it's not the end of the world, but I'd like to keep it intact. Because I'm not reusing these rings, but I don't want to damage the piston. It's not coming off. So maybe we try. Oh, maybe. Did that get it? Look at that. I think I just got it. Yeah, I just heard some thunder. Look at that. Okay. Yeah, I have evaporust in here. It's been sitting for 30-ish minutes, so. But I'll use some more I'll soak up all the pistons in evaporust, or at least the two that got stuck, because you can see that ring. You can see this ring got a bunch of rust in it. I think that was piston number 3 or number 4. So number 4 and number 7 had the valves open, and I think some water got down the carb, and that's why they're rusty. So I'll let the pistons, probably all of them, sit in a bath of evaporust for a couple of hours or 24 hours, whatever, and then see what that does, because you can kind of see some in there. And I'll do some more scrubbing and degreaser and whatever. Because I have some evaporust in this along with degreaser, just to help with some of that, just to get the rings off. Then once I get the rings off, then I need to let them sit some more and probably just evaporust, just to fully get some of this rust off of there. It's not like it's bad rust, but it's still rust. I don't really want that. So, and these oiler spacer ring thingies just come off, and the actual oiler ring can be a pain to get off, because, well, it's not a pain, but it's just a pain to find the opening. Okay, maybe that's what I'm talking about, is why it's a pain to just go around with this till I get an opening. Right there, maybe? No. Right there. Nope. There. There we go. Right there. Here we go. So the oiler ring is coming off. There we go, just like that. Slides off. And this spacer ring, same thing, just comes right off. Possibly. If I can get, there we go. That just slides right off too. I'll let that sit in there. And yeah, even though the rings have some rust in them, so I'll let them sit probably. But this engine's gonna go into a 4th gen Camaro. It's a 305 small block, so if you wanna see a carbureted 305 in a 4th gen 1995 Camaro, make sure you're subscribed and you like and you do all the things, you know. That's really up to you though. I can't control you. I don't know where I put the zip ties. I'm trying to zip tie them in the order that the rings came out so I can measure them later and know which rings they were. And I had zip ties and I don't know where I put them. So I gotta find the zip ties again. I don't know where the zip ties are. Great. Well, yeah, they were right here. Like, I don't know where they would have went, but I have a 69, wait, so, oh, okay. 305 and a, okay, yeah, 79. Yeah. My dad's got a, or wait. Time for rust repair, new cam. Yeah, I'm thinking of like at this point, it's either I spend some money, like $1,000 on new cam, new pistons, a little, you know, make it a little more horsepower, or I just see how cheap I can get the car to run. So I might get a mild cam, but we'll see. Maybe a little more. Who knows? Like, I don't know where I put the zip ties. That's the garage trying to close or yelling at me because it's been open too long or whatever. I guess I don't. Guess whatever. I don't know where I put the zip ties. I had them and now I don't. So. Okay. So now I don't know what I'm doing. I've been live for like a little over 2 hours, but it could go longer, I guess. Did I throw the zip ties in here? I threw all my paper towels in here, but I don't know where I put the zip ties. Well, that could be a problem, but that's, yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't know where the zip ties went. I'm sure I put them somewhere. I'm sure they're in plain sight, but I don't know. Guess we can clean up this a little bit more and then we'll call it good. Just trying to get the grease off. Just trying to get them mostly clean, 80% clean, and we'll clean them more when I put rings on them. This one's going in the bag. Here's thunder, but it's not raining. I'm sure it'll be raining sooner than later. This is piston number 5. And as you can see, that's pretty dirty, but the rings aren't stuck. Oh my. Wait, there's part of the oiler. Huh? There's part of the oiler ring right there inside the. Wait. Yeah, part of the oiler ring broke. Right there. It's supposed to have a little hump right there. It doesn't connect, so the oiler ring broke, and part of the oiler ring is right there. So hopefully the block does. I didn't see any scoring on the block, but I'll have to double check that because part of the ring broke. I am back. Okay. Good to know. We're at 14,989 views. We just got to get like 11 more. And it's my like most streamed live stream, I believe. So, you should like and subscribe and do the things, and you know. My most views right now is at if I can, my most views right now is at 15-something thousand. So, you know, if we can get, and I am back and unsubscribed. Why are you unsubscribed? Huh? I'm confused. What do you mean you're unsubscribed? Wait, you unsubscribed or you were unsubscribed when you came back? Huh? Just yes. Okay, you're confusing. You're a special breed. Yep. 15,518 is what we got to get to. Well, you know, can you drink that? You can try. Everything's edible once. I'm not saying you can't drink it. I'm just saying you probably shouldn't. Like, you got free will. When you get back, I can save some for you. But like, this stuff is full of. This used to be green, like a clear green. Now it's not that. So I don't think you want to drink it. But hey, you got free will, so. I don't really care if you want to drink it or not. You can go right ahead. Add some in a bottle and I will drink it. I don't think you will. You can try. I mean, like I said, everything's edible once. But I mean, I guess if you, okay. I mean, there we go, that's better now. There's some good deposits on here right there. And there's some good carbon deposits on this one. I'm about to go back to the gondola. What should I do when I get back on it? Jump? No, don't do that. You should like try to open the window or open the door like mid-ride, you know. You should take a video of it and send it to me. I think my iPad died. Yeah, we're at 1%, so I think. I don't know, we'll let that sit some more. Let the, you know, chew on the, 15,000 views. What is that? Is it raining yet? I don't know. Probably go get lunch. I don't want Taco Bell. I got money for that. Alright, well I think I'm gonna end the stream and go get some lunch. You know? So, well, should I end it? Should I not? I could. I might not. We'll see. I'll clean this last piston, then we'll see what I feel like doing. So I gotta label these bags. Oh wait, I gotta keep this one because this is Piston 5. So I'm gonna label some bags, but I'm gonna keep that for later. So, you know. I'll be right back. Alright, I think I'm gonna end the stream. But we got 5 of the Pistons pretty clean. Might clean the rest later. You know. But thanks for watching. See you later.